Okay, here is how to do the warm-up for Algebra Enrichment Block 1, starting with number 1. Number 1 is testing your knowledge of function notation. So you have two different functions. You have an f function, f of x equals x squared plus 2x, and another function, g of x equals negative 3x minus 5. The question says to find f of negative 3 and g of negative 6. Remember that the f part tells you what function to use, or g, and then the number that's inside the parentheses tells you what number to input. So here, we're going to take f of negative 3, okay, and we're going to use the f function. And then we're going to plug in negative 3 into the x. So you have f of negative 3 equals, and we're going to plug in negative 3 into the x, both x's. And then we're going to solve. Negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. And then you have 2 times negative 3, which is negative 6. So when you do 9 minus 6, the answer to f of negative 3 equals 3. Now we're going to do the other one by using g of negative 6. So the g tells me I'm going to use the g function and plug in negative 6. So g of negative 6 equals negative 3 times negative 6 minus 5. Well, negative 3 times negative 6 is positive 18. Then you have minus 5. So the answer of g of negative 6 equals 13. And that's how you do function notation. Shifting down to number 2. Number 2 tests your knowledge of slope. And can you find the slope between 2 points? Remember that in the last class we learned that the slope formula, m equals y minus y over x minus x. So all we need to really do is subtract our y's and put it over subtracting our x's. So here's what it looks like. When we subtract our y's, remember these are our y's, so that's 5 minus and then a negative 1 over subtracting our x's, 2 minus negative 4. Now the double negatives will change to positives, so 5 plus 1 is 6, and 2 plus 4 is also 6. Then you try to reduce the fraction if you can. In this case it can. 6 divided by 6, or 6 over 6, reduces to 1. Our slope for this problem is 1. Now the same thing goes for 3 and 4. So when we go to 3, find the slope of these points here. Again, our function, our slope formula is m equals y minus y over x minus x. Or subtracting our y's, we have 4 minus 9, and subtracting our x's, 3 minus a negative 3. Now the double negative on the bottom will change to a positive, making it 3 plus 3. So, this is a negative 3. Negative 3 minus negative 3. So negative 3, or on the top, 4 minus 9 is negative 5. On the bottom, though, we have negative 3 plus 3, which is 0. Now, if you remember, dividing by 0 is impossible. You can put this in your calculator, negative 5 divided by 0, and you'll find that it gives you an error, because we cannot divide by 0. We can't divide something into 0 pieces, remember? So we have a name for an impossible slope, and that is undefined. So the slope in this case does not exist. It's undefined. In number 4, same thing. M equals y minus y over x minus x. I'm going to subtract my y's, negative 1 minus negative 1, over subtracting my x's, which is 4 minus negative 4. The double negatives change to a positive, so I have negative 1 plus 1, which is 0, over 4 plus 4, which is 8. Now, this slope is possible because 0 out of 8 is a real number. And you can plug in 0 divided by 8 in your calculator, and it will give you an actual number, and that is 0. Zero slope, remember, is a flat line. An example of zero slope would look like this, just straight across. Okay. That's it for the warm-up. Hopefully you got all the correct answers.